Hi, good news or bad news for me? Really? Okay. That is it's deja vu, because that's exactly what the meeting was supposed to be a month ago. The same thing. You said, I'm going, and they canceled it at the very last second. Alright. Well, probably by the time you get home, you'll just be leaving to go, yeah, so tomorrow I'll talk to you. But if you're able to, you could at least leave me a quick message that there either was or wasn't. You know what I mean? And then we'll talk more on tomorrow. All right. Well, I will. And definitely, remember you promised me, you said you'll have Mary bring a release. All right. I know, but you know what I mean? They might, if they, you have to determine, because if my mother's in her right frame of mind, she has every right to, so just in case. Well, you said you would ask her to please do that, to please bring a release along, just in case or whatnot. That's my big thing. And find. Oh, I know. No, but Mary's allowed to find out stuff, and if she has a release, and she can tell me, I want to know what unit number my mother's in. That's not much for me to ask. I want to know where in the hospital my mother is, just like I knew before. And it's not like anybody ever forces my mother. It's not like I force my mom to talk to me or whatever. It would be her choice. You know what I mean? But I want to have the ability to, at least like I did before, where they'll say your daughter's on the phone, and then they'll either say she'll come to the phone, or she doesn't want to talk to you. I want her to have that choice. And if Marion has that much power that she can actually stop me from even, this is just sickening. Okay. I want to know where my mother is. That's not much to ask, because it's not like I can harass my mother. If they're afraid of that, it's always up to her. I learned that when she wouldn't talk to me. She told me, please call me every day. Remember I told you, please call me every day. And then I visited her on Saturday, didn't call her Sunday, and called Monday. Why didn't you call me yesterday? I need you to call me. And then soon she was totally gone and wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks. But at least it was her choice. They have no right to say that I can't even, they can stop me from visiting her, but not talking to her on the phone. When I was there was somebody, it was a husband and wife, I don't know what it was, but he apparently calls everybody, she screams at him, and all the patients hear and whatnot, But they still have the right to do that. It's over the phone on the patient line. They usually don't put strict any kind of regulations on the patient line, because they give the patient the choice. Do you want to talk to this person? She doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to you, and that's the end of it. They don't force them. So there's no fucking way that I shouldn't be allowed to at least be in communication with my mother if she wants to be in communication with me. I know. I'm just upset. And if you do meet Marion, I want to leave you with this real quick. I don't know if you know a group named is it Metallica? I think so, yeah. They have a song, and the song, it says, I dubbed the unforgiven. In Marion's world, you already know this, but it's like, for things I did years ago, admittedly so, but plus she made stuff up that I didn't actually do, which makes it even more sicker. In her world of my mother's friends and my whole family, I'm never forgiven for anything. You know what I mean? I can't change, I can't grow, I'm forever stigmatized by things I admittedly did years ago, and that didn't land me in jail. It's so sick. So you bear that in mind, if you get to meet the Queen. Well, I have a feeling I have a feeling she's going to be there, because you said she's been hands-on lately. In the past, she hasn't. But in the past, I've been out 3,000 miles away and not shown. You know what I mean? In the past, she never visited my mother. She wasn't hands-on, nothing. And my mom can tell you that. She wrote that. I gave Shiji that poem. Forsaken by family, God and man. Nobody visits me. Nobody. So anyway, if I know. Oh, you can't. Oh, then you can't leave me a message. It's just a quick. It's just we had a meeting or we didn't, you know. And actually, if you oh yeah, you can let me know ahead of time. I don't even know where my phone is. I don't even have it turned on, and I don't even know but you know what I mean. But anyway, either way, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Just just to unless I get a message that there was no meeting, and then we talked today, so it's really probably talk to you again next week. All right, but okay, take care. Good luck. And you want to be my advocate, and it'll be interesting if you get to meet with Marion. You know, it's going to be interesting. I will be glad if you do, because you'll get to see, how sweet talking she'll be, and how kind and how nice and how she'll come across, and Okay, good luck. Bye. Forgiven. I used to love Metallica. That's fitting for me, though, I admittedly did a lot of things I'm not proud of, but I'm not even allowed to. Change or grow or be forgiven or, be commended for all the good things I did over this for my mom, Reese, Unplug this so telemarketers don't call. I cannot believe. I'm sorry, it is so petty that those neighbors, literally, it's a tree, guys, okay? On this side, there's not enough room for me and Omar to be. There's a driveway there. You would think that the property starts at the driveway. That's what I would think. No, my roommate didn't even know, but they got a complaint. The landlord called, and I said, did you even know that? You didn't tell me that? He's like, no, I didn't. He didn't know. I'm like, how do they know? He's like, well, they moved in wherever not that long ago, and they must have papers that say where their property line starts. Such bullshit. And I always pick up almost crap, which means they're just upset just that I'm there, right on the other side of the tree. It's not like I'm tramping through their property over there, whatever. It's literally, so the pen's there, and now I'm just sickened. People are just ridiculous. People are ridiculous. I had no idea that the other side of a tree, you'd figure this tree's here, and I'm directly on the other side, and that's someone else's property, but right here on this side of the tree next to the pen is I could be, but not right directly on the other side. Of course, I can't go near those trees anymore because I can't stop Omar. I can't say he has to be just in this one little tiny spot and he wants to explore the whole tree, Bullshit. It's bullshit. And I was trying to avoid going other places so I wouldn't disturb or be around where other people in this apartment hang out. But now I don't give a fuck. I'm like, this is an apartment building. I'm going to go anywhere I fucking please, anywhere under people's windows, anywhere I want. I'm paying rent, and that's how it works with an apartment building. The whole property is everybody's free. I can free to go everywhere. I wasn't out of consideration, and it backfires, bites me in the ass, backfires in my face. So now I told him, he's like, that's fine. He's like, the landlord doesn't care. You can go anywhere you want on the property, Laura. Nobody has any designated spot, and that's how it should be. But you feel weird because, different places are not, this is not, I think I've told you, it's not a place where it's, 50 zillion people living in one apartment complex. It's you know what it is. There's all different kinds of things out there where houses get split into complexes and things like that, and I was trying to stay in what I thought was our little area, and it backfires and bites me in the ass, because one side of the tree is our area, like, and the other side, right directly, is someone else's that's not part of this land. That's just bullshit. That's so petty, though. That's petty. On to the next thing. You know, it's always something. Always something. I cannot win. The poor dog, I mean, it's because he had no choice, because, you know, otherwise he'd have to get rid of him. You know, the dog barks, and so the dog has one of those shock collars, and no, I don't believe in them, but again, we're back to the same thing. It's not my business, okay? He's had this dog for a long time. It's not my business. I figured I'm here and let the dog go outside. No, the neighbors complain that the dog barks. I'm going to tell you my stance on this, and I read comments. There are people in this planet who think that they should never experience, the dog shouldn't even bark once. I'm sorry, but you are ridiculous, you people who think there should be during the day. I'm not talking about night. We're going to disregard night. I'm talking about during the day. Yeah, Joe had to deal with this shit, okay? Because he was a musician who had to play his music loud. Where does it end? Okay? Yeah. Unless you want to live in the country where there's nobody for miles around you, you have to understand that there's going to be noise. There's people around you. People need to live. At night, you have no right to make noise. During the day, I feel like within reason. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and blast my music all day long if I'm home, but I can do it for an hour. I was having that dog outside for like 3 hours at a time during nice days. There's been complaints. The same people apparently complained before I moved in. And that was, so I'm like, fine. I'm like, okay, I said to him, I'm like, is the landlord gonna, can I at least have the dog out for an hour? I'm reading about the legal recourse people can take, and they really can't. They have to get recordings and record the dog and prove that the dog is, he doesn't bark constantly. There are people, too many people on this planet who just think that things should be perfect. We had neighbors just a couple weeks ago when we had a nice day. They were playing music outside, fairly loud until midnight. Okay? What if I had to go to work the next day? I could hear it with the windows closed. Am I going to call the police or complain? No. It's the weekend night. People have a right to live. Okay? We'd talk too loud in our house in the weekend night, not during the week. On the weekend night, the goddamn neighbors would complain. I couldn't even have sex with Donald to any degree because he was terrified the goddamn neighbors were going to hear me scream or something, It's just ridiculous. If you don't live in an isolated friggin' house, people have the right to live, okay? So I'm going to cut back, and I bet they're still going to complain, and I don't know what's going to happen. Does the poor dog, I'll start walking the dog too, but does the poor dog not even have a right to be outside for an hour a day in the pen? Are we in that kind of, during the day? We're talking about during the day. What about kids that play during the day? And then there's someone out here who says, well, because I'm reading comments, somebody who, and I'm going to direct this in regards to me because I've worked overnights, okay? People who work nights, they sleep during the day, and that's the same as you sleeping at night. Yeah, well, you know what? People who work nights are automatically in a different group. They are not the norm, okay? They have to make they have to do special things so they can sleep. I worked for that phone sex company as an overnight moderator, okay? You cannot expect perfect quiet during the goddamn day. We were poor. We lived in an apartment building. You think that people didn't make noise during the day sometimes, or people come in and out, or whatnot. There could be babies crying. You can't have perfect quiet during the day. You can't expect dogs to never bark. I'm sorry if you work nights. That's the way it fucking goes in this reality, in this existence. You have to deal with it, okay? You live in a different reality where most people do not work nights. You can't say, that's how I feel. You cannot expect perfect quiet because you vary from the norm. But people will say they think a dog barking even once during the day is ridiculous, or I'm sorry. And the irony is, it's warm out now and I love to walk. There are dogs that the second Omar and I go by there, and we go by 3 times during an hour's walk. The 3 of them are guard dogs that you don't go near. You don't go near the fence, whatever, big guard dogs. The second we go by, they start barking up a storm. Do you think they couldn't have neighbors that were home that could complain? Some neighbors somewhere that could complain about those dogs barking? That's 3 times if I go by with Omar. If I start walking his dog, that could be 2 or 3 more times, right? Tough shit. I have a right to walk down the street with the dog, and if it incites your dogs to bark and then your neighbors complain, oh well, we don't live in isolation. We live in crowded whatever. You can't. So I called him. I woke up, I was agitated about everything. I'm agitated about him wanting me, or, I don't believe it's him that wanted it. I believe it's her. Wanting me to meet his new girlfriend. I don't want to do it. And then I called him. I'm like, what happened yesterday? I just like, how is your landlord? Is your landlord still gonna get upset? And if that person, we already know they're gonna complain. But how is your landlord gonna be? Do I have a right to put the dog out, the poor dog out for 1 hour total per day? Maybe split it up, a half hour, as opposed to 3 hours at a time. Because the dog barks. He doesn't bark constantly, but he does bark. He barks at everything, and I understand that people don't want to hear the dog barking. I've worked nights. I've slept days. There's a hell of a lot of shit you don't want to hear. You have to deal with it. It's daytime. It's when most people are up. Donald would stay up all night and sleep all day, and he expected there to be total quiet, okay? And sometimes when there wasn't, he would get upset when his mother and I needed to live, But he was cheap, and he's lucky he didn't destroy his eardrums, and I followed his suit when I moved in, and then I got bread stuck down in my ear, and I was terrified, and I never did it again. I never used the bread again. He put bread in his ears instead of, he taught me how to do it because we were so poor. You take bread, but unfortunately, if you have old bread, it can crumble, and then you're in trouble. You get little bread crumbs going down in your ear, and I've seen Donald before stick a toothpick down in his ear to get that little piece of bread out. It happened to me once, and I was terrified, and I never used the fucking bread again. Okay? But yeah, you roll up bread and wet it, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than earplugs, because earplugs get ruined and gross, and they're expensive relatively if you have to use them all the time, often, and throw them away. Bread is just a big loaf at Vaughn's for how much, or even at the 99-cent store. But you can get cheap bread even at Vaughn's. I'm making a point. That's what people who think do. We follow A to B to C. I understand that you don't want dogs barking if you're sleeping during the day. You don't want dogs barking. You don't want people to live, basically. You don't want music blasting with the windows open. You don't want anything like that. Well, you know what? I have news flash for people like that, because I read comments on the internet that basically will say, well, you shouldn't have your dog out at all if he's barking, people who sleep during the day, it's the same for you. Sleep at night, yeah, well, all kinds of noise happens that you couldn't complain about, but of course you're going to complain about the barking dog. You should never have anything that happen at night. You shouldn't have your dog out at night, period. Nobody should have their dog out at night and barking, period. Okay? We're talking about during broad daylight hours. Okay? They're complaining about the dog barking. I could be going outside and picking up garbage or picking up leaves or what. I could be playing a radio outside. Don't I have the right to do that? They would hear it. That's how I feel. It's summer. It's daytime. But I think it's hysterical. It has nothing to do with these people. This is going to be way, way down the street, around the corner, where I take Omar, where there's not main roads, right? I'll take his dog too. I think it's hysterical that because our neighbors are complaining about the goddamn dog, I don't want the poor dog to just have to stay in the goddamn house all day like he would have to do. Apparently before I was here, he'd have somebody coming over to check on the dog during the day like once, but he works long hours and the dog just sits. That's how a lot of people are. There's nothing you could do. There's a hell of a lot of dogs. If they couldn't have owners that work, they would have no owner at all, and so they're better off existing, being taken care of, being loved. It's just the nature of the beast. But because our neighbors have complained, I'm actually probably, without even knowing it, because it doesn't involve me, there's nothing they can do, they'll just be, but probably most people work during the day, it's probably nobody was walking dogs, and now I'm going to be walking dogs during the day, their dogs are going to bark, and they might get complaints. See how it works? And these are people we don't know, we'll never know. I'm not going to meet them, they're not my neighbors, they're way, way down the street around the corner. But that's how, I don't know what the word is. See how things are connected? That's how things are connected. Me stopping, because I can't have his dog out in the pen for any length of time anymore, and I feel bad for his dog, although I don't plan to live here forever. I always say that, but I always say about anything, I don't plan to live here forever. I don't plan. But while I'm here, and in the special, I'm going to walk the dog. I got my sneakers now. They're not the sneakers I want. They're apparently don't have enough room in the tow room, but they're working okay for now. And if I can power walk, I can walk his dog. Okay. It's just amusing to me that because of what's happened around here, people I don't know and probably will never know might be affected simply because I'm going to be walking around and around. I've already done it with Omar, and every time those dogs, if they had neighbors who were home, they might complain or they might not. It's just sad to me. I don't know. I feel like during the day, you have no right to be so rigid. I told him, I said, I'm home here and I play my music loud. I have every right to during the day. I don't do it constantly, and loud isn't even not loud the way Joe, a musician. Yeah, people complained. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line between people having a right to live and people having a right to peace and quiet? Well, for one thing, I don't believe you have the right to pure peace and quiet during the day at light hours. Because there's so many noises that can happen. And, babies can cry, children can make noise, children can be out in the yard playing, trucks can make huge noise. All kinds of shit can happen. I don't believe you have the right to expect that during the day. You need to sleep, wear fucking earplugs. But I don't think people complain not because they just don't want to hear the dogs barking. I don't know. I feel bad for the dog. And people will say, well, you shouldn't put your dog, so what if you feel bad for the dog? You shouldn't put your dog's feelings or whatnot above my right to have peace and quiet. You don't have right to peace and quiet during the day. I don't feel that I do. I have never once been that arrogant to feel like I have the right to peace and quiet during the day. When I was in that shelter, there were people who believed we had a right to live before there was quiet time. And quiet time wasn't till, bedtime. And they felt like if they wanted to take a nap, like at 6 or at whatever, the people around them should be so totally quiet in a fucking shelter. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with people? I'd be talking to my friend, and you'd get shh, shh, shh at 5 o'clock at night. 5 o'clock is someone sleeping? You wouldn't believe the audacity that people had, and they're in a fucking homeless shelter. I couldn't believe it. You think I didn't upset people with my attitude? You have no right. I'm not running through the halls screaming and yelling. I'm talking in a normal voice to my friend. It's not quiet time. And the supervisors all agreed with me. But it would still become, they would say, shh, 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 because they want to sleep. Do you really think you're in a homeless shelter? You have the right, everyone around you, to be quiet because you want to sleep, or you need to sleep because you're going to work or something? You're in a fucking shelter. Give me a break. People are ridiculous. You're in a shelter. You cannot expect quiet. We have the right to talk. We have the right to live. It's unbelievable to me. And then in the end, the bitch call her a bitch just in regard, but I liked her, you know, the woman I met in that shelter, and we became friends, and we were in there, and we both had nothing, and I wound up having a lot, and she still had nothing, and then, you know, but I didn't rub it in her face, and I tried to help her out, and I tried to never make her feel less, even though she was penniless virtually, and I had $17,000 in the bank, you know, I mean, and in the end, I get bit in the ass, and in the end, she's writing to me. I can see now why those people said what they said, because remember, I was there a lot longer before she came. We met at the very end when I was getting ready to leave. I didn't know I was getting ready to leave. I had no idea I was going to be approved for Social Security, you know, disability, and I had no clue in the universe that I was going to get a check for almost $17,000. I was crying, and then I had to hide it because you don't want anyone to know that you've just received that, of course, anyone in there. I almost fainted. I had to talk to the big higher-up person, and I'm like, this can't be real. This has to be a mistake. She's like, no, it's not a mistake. I'm like, how did this happen? I didn't know. I didn't understand. I thought it only went back a few months. No, it goes back. If they from whenever they determine you're disabled, they can't go back 4 years, but they can go back 1 year from when you applied. So if it took 4 months for it to be approved, and then it went years because they determined I became disabled many, many, many years ago. I received a check. I couldn't believe it. I went from being penniless to having a check for $16,700. I almost fainted. I was crying, and I had to hide it because you don't want anyone all those people to know that you've just become wealthy comparatively to being penniless. That was more money than I'd ever had in my life. I've been poor my entire life. The most I've ever had in the bank is maybe a few thousand. And that was a long time ago in my 20s when I was working more than full-time a lot of times. Working full-time, working overtime, you know, for a legitimate company. And I say legitimate, not that the phone sex company is not legitimate, okay, but it's not mainstream, and it wasn't full-time. I started doing the calls. And speaking of that, but then I was in my 20s, you can fuck with your sleep cycle and whatnot in your 20s. You never get sleep. If I worked overnight, but I made extra money, this is when I was with Joe, and he was gone during the day working, and I couldn't be on for the calls at night because he was there. It had to be during the day. But think about it, I'm up all night as a moderator. I come home, I call on for calls. You never know when you'll be you have to stay on, so you never know when you're going to be interrupted. You'll be in a sound sleep, and you'll get a call, and you'll have to talk to the guy when you've just been interrupted from a dream, whatever. I mean, I could never do that now. I did it then. I did it for over a year. So I never got good sleep. Think about it. If I'm working, I only worked 4 days a week at that. It was part-time, 4 nights. It's like 30 hours a week or something. So the other 3 days I could get sleep. You know, there are some women who do that, and they want the money, so they're always on 24 hours a day for calls. That means they only sleep sporadically, and and if they're popular, you call them and you know they've just been sleeping, you never get uninterrupted sleep. That fucks with your cycle. It fucks with everything. But I did it. Like I said, I couldn't do it now. I am mad at myself that I'm not going to bed. And I know why I'm not, because I'm caught up in all of this. There's things I'm trying to get cleared up, things I'm trying to take care of. And in the meantime, I'm still creating videos, and I still have to watch them before I put them public. So that takes time. I've been going to bed too late. I went to bed at 1, wake up at 4, stayed up for a few hours, and then went back to bed. It's not uninterrupted sleep. Ideally, from what I'm reading, you should get at least 7.5 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. I just have to do it. I have to go to bed. I have to not be tempted to watch the news, because the news before you know it, then I have other things to get ready for bed and to set up this. This takes forever for me to set up, but it does make the room pitch black, so it's worth it to me. It's worth it. It makes the room pitch black. It is worth it to me to set this all up every fucking night, even if it's, I don't know how long it takes me. I never timed it. I'm sure it takes me at least 20 minutes or more. I need to not watch the news. If I get into watching the 10 o'clock news or even the 11, and then we're getting into midnight, and then before I know it, it's 1 and I'm going to bed, but I don't sleep that long, so. So the poor dog, I was happy for him because it was turning summer, spring, you know, and he'd get to go out in the pen. No, he barks, which I knew. I told my roommate, I was up front, I'm like, you know, your dog's barking. You told me those neighbors complained before. He's like, I don't care about them. But he does. It's just they went to the landlord, and now we have to cool it with having the dog just has to stay inside. So because I feel bad for the dog, I'll walk him. I'm still going to put him out in the pen to do his business a couple times a day. They can go fuck themselves. They cannot expect the dog to never be outside, never bark. I could walk him and he'll bark, you see. I should go near their property line, because unfortunately this is not the same neighbors that, by the way, there are neighbors over there that complained, and he said those neighbors have never complained before. I'm like, I don't care, they're assholes, they're worse than the dog barking thing. I'm on one side, I pick up almost poo-poo, which means they just don't want him peeing. I'm on one side and I can't be on the other side. I had no idea that was even their property. And he didn't even know it was their property. We just found out now, because we got a call from the landlord, you know. I'm like, I can't win, you know. There's caca all over the place from a dog that roams loose. And that's what gets me. I'm like, yeah, well, that dog can go anywhere. I'm like, I pick up Omar's poo-poo, even though that dog goes anywhere and poo-poo's anywhere he wants. But I would never leave Omar's poo-poo, you know. And they're going to complain. That dog can go on the other side. That dog can go right in their yard. But they're going to complain that I'm, for brief moments of time, on the other side of the tree, directly. The tree's like this big, and there's no room on this side. So I'm on the other side, and we find out, my roommate and I both, pretty much on the same day, from the landlord, that's their property. They don't want you on the other side of the tree on their property. I said to him, that's so petty. I said, I don't even understand what you're saying. Can you show me? We went out in the yard and I made sure. I said, are you fucking kidding me? And I hope they heard me. I hope they had their window open or something. That's so petty. I didn't understand what he was saying. He's on the chair downstairs and he's, Laura, we've had complaints. I'm like, what? I can't win. I tried so hard. I pick up the poo-poo in your dog's pen because I feel bad for the dog, you know, and you work so much that, you know, things go by the wayside, and I'm trying to help the best I can since I don't work, and I'm not paying nearly as much rent as you are, and, you know, I had him show me, and then I was purposefully loud. I said, that is so petty. Are you kidding? I hope they heard me. That's so petty. You're telling me this side of the tree, which this much room, is your property, or the landlord's property, and then on the other side of this tree, I can't be. The driveway's right there. Why would I ever think that was their property? It looks like this is, it's just ridiculous. So, I have to laugh. I have to laugh. So now I'm going anywhere I damn well please on this property. I was trying to be considerate of people who live over there that steal this property and whatnot. Nope. I don't care. If I live in an apartment building, even if it's not a typical apartment building, that, you know, lots of apartment buildings might have just 3 different tenants, not 50. You know, it's a different situation. And I'm going to go anywhere I want. There's no territory wars, there's nothing. And I told him, I'm like, you know what, if I can't go in our little part, you know, because where I thought I could go, then I'm just going to go everywhere else, anywhere I damn well please that I know is the landlord's property. Fuck it, you know. I'm trying to be considerate and it bites me in the ass. And I know damn well, I'm going to tell him again, I'm like, because he told the landlord, well, I'm pretty sure he told them, well, I know she usually picks up no, they didn't complain because they saw caca, unless it was the dog that roams around the caca, or a bird or a turkey or something. But that's another thing. Wild turkeys can go anywhere. I don't really see them around here, but I did back when I was with my mom. You know what I mean? Animals they're just being petty. That's all. They're being petty. I didn't think they were being petty when they told me where I was, this part, and I knew that. I just didn't think anybody would care. It was winter and it was all overgrown. There was like this middle thing. You walked down the driveway to get to the other street. I knew the driveway was probably their property, and I pretty much knew that middle thing, but I didn't hang out there. But one day he was very nice. This is our property, and we don't, we want you hanging out here. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. But now they're going to be so petty that I can't be on the other side of the tree briefly. I didn't even know. He didn't even know that was not the landlord's property. So, but that's petty to me. That's so petty. And he says she usually, no, I always do. Which means they're complaining simply for my existence of being on that other side. Even though it seems, if anybody in the universe looked at it, you would think that that was all the landlord's property up to the driveway. Then the driveway would start their property, and then all the land they have back there. Nope. Apparently part of what I thought was our little part, and still the landlord's property, like this, is theirs. It cuts it in half. I said, how does he even know that? Oh, he hasn't been there that long. He must have papers. He must have no, he knows exactly where his property line is. And I can't step over it, which doesn't make sense to me, because when he told me don't go over there, I said, okay, that's fine. I never did again, never went over there. I said, but can I walk down the driveway to get to the road? And he's like, yeah, it's no problem. But now I'm not even going to go near his driveway, nothing. I'll just go around. I'll go around. And I hope, I'm vicious when these people are so petty. The other neighbors, yeah, I'll go around, and I hope that his dog barks the entire time I'm going around and going by the other neighbors who complained about him barking in the pen. I'll walk him. Can't stop me. You can't complain about the dog barking if I'm walking, and if you can, then this is ridiculous. People have a right to live. Dogs have a right to bark. You can't expect perfect quiet during the fucking day. I'm not walking the dogs 10 o'clock at night. You get it? People are ridiculous. People are ridiculous. They're ridiculous, period. Everyone in the universe doesn't have a trained dog. There are areas of this world or population, or even in the United States, where dogs roam free. You can't stop them from barking or shitting in your yard, nothing, So I'll walk him. I'm not going to I won't go through even though they told me I could. No, if you're going to be so petty that I can't be on the other side of your tree, even though I pick up almost poo-poo, I'm just going to not even go down your driveway. I'm going to go around with both dogs. And the other neighbors on the other side, the ones who complain about the dog barking in the pen, well, chances are he's going to bark when I'm going by your house, and fuck you. No. You can't expect perfect quiet when it's daytime. You can't expect perfect quiet in the fucking daytime. The nighttime, yeah. The daytime, no. So, ridiculous. So I'll start walking the dog. I'm still going to put him out in his pen, but not for very long. These people make me ill. These people who expect perfect quiet during the day make me ill. People can blast music during the day that goes out your window, If you can't expect perfect quiet during the day. During the day, you cannot expect perfect quiet. You have no right to expect perfect quiet during the day. It's daytime. It's when most people are up and about, and kids can be making noise, and people play music, and dogs bark, and whatever, I was trying to be nice to the dog. Felt bad for him being cooped up all goddamn day in here, and, bites me in the ass. Bites me in the ass. bites me in the ass. But no. They technically, yeah, they can complain because the dog's been out. He periodically barks for out in 3 hours at a time. But if I just put him out for a half hour and they still complain, then fuck them. You know, you have a right. You can't expect perfect quiet continuously during the friggin' day. It's not rational, you know. It's not rational. It's the daytime. Just like me walking by those people. They could have neighbors. I walk 3 times in an hour with Omar, and those 3 dogs bark up a storm outside. They could have neighbors complaining about that. You know? People, you can't expect perfect quiet during the day. Now, if I walk 2 dogs 2 different times, think how many times that's going to be me going by their house, and their dogs are going to bark up a storm every time. Because they're guard dogs. They're like attack dogs or something. People who expect perfect quiet during the day make me ill. You know? They make me ill. It's daytime. People have a right to live, just like people can have parties on the weekend. You don't take advantage of it, but you know, you can't expect to just live in a bubble and expect there never to be noise. What you can expect is for there not to be noise after 10 o'clock at night during the week when most people work. But if you're an exception and you work on the weekends, then you're just going to have to deal with the fact that some people might have a party on the weekend. Okay? And if you need it, if you work at night and you have to sleep during the day, you're going to have to expect that there just might be noise around. Your neighbors might actually, you know, what about mowing the lawn? Someone could be out mowing the lawn. You know, lawnmower is just as bad as the dog barking. People have a right to live during the day, you know? If you're an exception and you need perfect quiet during the day, get fucking earplugs. Because you cannot expect there to be never be barking dogs, never be lawn mowing, never be children playing, never be music blasting outside or inside through the windows or whatnot. People have a right to live. You don't take advantage, you don't go overboard. But there has to be a balance, you know. The dog has a right, he barks at squirrels or barks at whatever. You can't just leave him cooped up all damn day long. He has the right to live. It's daytime. It's the middle of the fucking day. It's not the nighttime, it's the daytime. You know? Daytime, daytime, daytime. These other people, I pick up Omar's poo-poo, I never once don't. They're going to complain that I'm on the other side of a tree. They didn't even know. How would I ever know? How would I know that the property cuts in half? I thought it started at the friggin' driveway. I'm not even going to go near their driveway anymore. Never again. Never again. I'm going to go all the way around. That's so petty. So petty. I'm on the other side of the tree, and I never ever once have not picked up Omar's poo-poo. Never once. Whether I'm walking outside where we live and all the way down around and everywhere, I don't leave poo-poo. I can't stand people who leave poo-poo when you're walking down the street or whatever, if they have the dog on a leash. Of course, people do it, but I don't. There's no exception. I don't ever not pick up Omar's poo-poo. So these people didn't find poo-poo on the other side of their tree that I didn't have any idea was their property. They saw me there and didn't like it. It's literally a tree in a little spot here, and then on the other side of the tree is apparently someone else's property. Who would have ever known that? Who would have ever known that? Unbelievable to me. These people just complain, you know, about nothing. Not that a dog barking is nothing, but, you know, I understand, so he can't be out anymore. Only for brief periods of time. Brief periods of time. But especially in the spring and the summer, there's always going to be noise, you know? If it's not a dog barking, it could be music playing, it could be lawn mowers, it could be anything. You can't expect perfect quiet during the day. People have a right to expect quiet at night, but not during the day, ever. 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 And people who do are just ridiculous, who expect to have perfect quiet all the time. But that's how people are. I'm not like that. I understand that people have a right to live. You know? People have a right to live. You can't just expect there to be perfect quiet all the time. People have a right to live. I think I need to go take my camera down my son that I forgot to take yesterday. And then I need to eat. I'll take Omar out again. Omar. It was raining. Omar 99.9% of the time will not go to the bathroom in the rain. I had him briefly in the cage, but he was screaming, like really loud. So I have him up here. I can keep an eye on him. He's not gonna be that blatant, although he has before lifted his leg and pissed right on my bed right in front of me. I couldn't believe it, but usually he won't. He just doesn't want to be in that cage. I don't blame him. So apparently there's still supposed to be a meeting today, but last time it was canceled at the very last minute. They didn't feel my mom was up to it. Oh, my second half of my Vitacost order. And my box arrived yesterday and it was missing a bunch of stuff. And of course I immediately called them. They had fucked up. Apparently they had split. It was the warehouse. It's not them. It's whoever's shipping it. But they had... I'm like, why does this happen? You didn't send me 2 tracking numbers. As far as I knew, I just was missing tons of stuff. She was like, yeah, that was our fault. We're sorry. We were supposed to send you 2 tracking numbers. But in any case, then your second half is going to arrive tomorrow. I don't know when it'll arrive. It has pumpkin seeds in it. I haven't been having pumpkin seeds. I ran out of them and they didn't have them at the market. They didn't have them at the market when we go to. They didn't have them, so the organic ones. So I ordered them online and then I had to just not have them for a while because I didn't place my own lottery orders right away. I wait until there's going to be some kind of coupon they send me to get percentage off and whatnot. You know, I'm always thinking like that. And then I place large orders, and you know, my last order I got $25 off of it. I got $25 off of my Sun Food order last time because I had created so many reviews, and they give you 45 points for that. And plus, I had all those points. So that was every 45 points I got $1 off, and I had so many points from doing reviews. I did a lot of reviews. I've reviewed almost every product that I've ordered from Sun Food. And just as an aside, I've loved, or at least really, really liked 99.9% of every, just about every product I've received from Sun Food. Any product that I didn't like was more my own personal taste. Like fruity cacao. Cacao nibs are very bitter, and fruity cacao nibs, or fruity cacao, whatever, has just a tiny bit less bitter, but it's still bitter to me, and I didn't try one before the other. I tried the fruity cacao thinking it was going to be sweeter than it was, but it wasn't. So, but even if I don't particularly care for it, I can still give it 4 stars because I know it's good shit. It's too much for me. The cacao nibs, I put them in my smoothie and I know they're good for me, but I don't want to eat them plain. They're too bitter for me. But I have chocolate coming today, and it's not really hot out, but I still don't want the box sitting out in the rain or whatnot, So I don't know when it's going to arrive. I wish everything had arrived yesterday, but it didn't. I do have chocolate coming. Now, why did I order chocolate? I think it's one of those equal exchange candy bars. Yeah, that I can't find in the store. Strawberry Shop sells equal exchange, but very limited. The co-op used to go to, but there's none around here anywhere close anyway. I can get anywhere but if I want to travel for hours, but and even some places that have equal exchange, they don't have this particular flavor. It's caramel chocolate. I got it from Vitacost, even cheaper than I get it in the store, but you had to order 2. So I'll limit other things that I eat today and have some of that chocolate. I'm still tired. Wondering if I should just go back to bed again, but I don't know if it's real. I think it's just I'm not sleeping right, and this might not be real exhaustion. It could just be agitation, depression. At least I didn't get sick. Not once. Not once the entire winter did I get sick. With a cold, with anything. That's pretty damn good, huh? Didn't get sick. Didn't get sick. I don't know when's the last time I got sick. I know I was getting sick all the time in the shelter, but is that a surprise? That's understandable, He just barked, or maybe my package arrived. It arrived yesterday, the first half of it around 11. So maybe it arrived again, and I can go get it. And then I can have pumpkin seeds instead of just sunflower seeds. I can have my mixture. He probably wants to go out. It was raining though, and I don't have him out in the rain, and I'm not going to have him out when I have to bring him in real quickly. I'm at least going to, have it be when it's nice out. Now that he's limited to when he can go out, for how long, or poor dog. Told him, well, that dog barking thing doesn't work. Have you checked the battery? Maybe it's not working. He says the dog knows how to just push it to the side, but I'm thinking those things have to be. It's probably not working. He probably won't even check the batteries. I mean, he said he would, but what are other things he said and didn't do? I record these videos with my camera sitting on top of my ProPure thing, but I'm actually need to use the ProPure thing and start saving myself money on water. Plus, I didn't get enough water last time. I thought I was getting gallons at Walmart. I didn't want to ask him to take me to the regular grocery store. And it turns out it wasn't even a gallon, so it's running out, and I'm enough. Now I'm going to have to ask him to take me to the regular store, because I'm not even going to have enough to last me the week. Or I can have him help me put this thing together. I don't know how I would have put it together if I was still with my mom by myself, though. So ridiculous. I go back to bed for a couple hours like I want to do, then we're going to be in the same situation where I'm not having my first meal till like 2 in the afternoon or something. And I shouldn't do that either. Because I did that the other day, and I went power walking, and then I hadn't eaten that much, so I came home and I pigged out. And granted, I just walked nearly 5 miles, power walked, but I still shouldn't come home and pig out. It's not conducive to my desire to lose another 10 pounds or so, me going power walking, but then coming home and picking out everything in sight. Granted, everything in sight's all organic, but still, it's not conducive to my goals. You're supposed to eat breakfast at a reasonable hour and all these things, but I get late starts sometimes, and it's because I've been staying up too late at night. Gotta nip that in the bud, Laura. And I say that I will, and I inevitably don't do it. I'm tempted to just leave this all up today, just not let light in at all. It still stays with all this like this. It cracks the light come in, but it stays kind of, not like pitch dark like I have it at night now, which is really good, but it stays a little bit dark, which is kind of nice, but it's such a pain to set this all up. I'm really tempted to just leave it. It's not a gorgeous day today anyway. I'm tempted to just leave it all up there and not have to worry about it tonight. And be able to just get ready for bed and crawl into bed and not have to worry about setting all this shit up. I think I am going to crawl into bed. I'm really, really depressed. Wish I could just get a massage. I didn't have to pay. And not a sexual massage either. It's a regular old massage. You know, no happy ending or anything like that. Just a regular massage. Everything has strings, so. Like I told you before, even the Craigslist ads, they'll offer their, I just love massaging women, I'm not after sex, there's no ulterior motives, there always are, they're all full of shit. Everybody's full of shit. I experienced that firsthand. Never again. Never again. Never again. See, you think you can get something for free? Nothing's for free. I thought, okay, I'm not real attracted to this guy, but he says he just likes massaging women. No, in the end, he wanted more. He's just full of shit. But these men I met, you know, last summer, or before last spring and summer, respectively so, you know. One in March and one a few months later. Yeah. I knew ahead of time I was fucking hot for them. I knew exactly what they looked like, so there was no awkward moments. They were just as hot and good looking, if not more so in person than in the pictures I had of them. So I was not disappointed, but I'm not going to pay $100. I'm not going to do it, you know. So I can you know, lament all I want, yeah. Other people wish they had $1 million, other people wish that, yeah, I wish I could have that again. I wish I could have a hot guy massaging me, no strings attached, just because he liked it, and for free. It's like Billy Joel's song he wrote 1,000,000 fucking years ago. Always a woman, you know, she'll take what you give her as long as it's free. You know, I don't, gotta be on my terms. I've been through too much shit, just shit after shit after shit. Everything has to be on my terms, or else not at all, pretty much. I just don't care. I don't care anymore.